What's going on, everybody? It's a beautiful Monday, and I'm just reliving the moments of the weekend. We had the big crash on Friday night. I spent some quality time with the fam. In the meantime, I got bodied at a rec basketball game the other day, so my wrist is bothering me a little bit. But that's what you get when you try to play in the paint and you're under 6 foot. That was my bad, everybody. But hey, it's a damn good day, ain't it? I was just scrolling through the footage. You know, in the moment, you don't get to watch a lot of these shows that you're a part of, and that's a reason to go out and just be a listener at some of these events. And sometimes I need a better reminder to do that and just go out and enjoy live music for a little bit. And I was flipping through here, and you know, there's a point in time during Jimmy Klepper's opening set where Josh Netley, also of Seeing the Funnies, came up and sang a song with him, and I didn't even know this was going on. So I think we're going to start this episode today just by watching these two do the thing and enjoying every damn second of it. Hold on, let me make sure I can find my mouse. Come on, boys.
Josh, you want to do some harmonies?
Man, I love Jimmy Klepper.
You got a shaker or something? Give it up for Josh K. I call him Josh K because I've known him for 10 years and I still can't say his last name.
Josh K.
Yeah. The K is silent.
Yeah. Nothing healthy. I think that's it, right? I found you in my ear. After all the moments that I've drowned, I pushed you out. You kept me in. Kept wasting all of my precious kills. One more drink, one more drag. You can follow me further down. I found you in my ear. After all the moments that I've drowned, yeah. And I don't want to be the one to say that I was only running from myself. And I don't want to be the one to say that I need something else. Both of us, we were cold. I let it come
It's all you.
out through my shaking hand. I spelled it out on this page, and you were left scratching on your head. I should have known from the start that I could never be your special plan. There we were in our heads, letting go of everything that fell apart. Yeah, and I don't want to be the one to say that I was only running from myself. And I don't want to be the one to say that I need something else to pick us up. I was Looking back at pages up in my old stash, thinking, damn, I can't believe that I wrote that. And life changes, goes black.
Oh, he's playing the orange. Oh my God.
To notice it go past. I remember I wanted it so bad I could taste it. Filling up notepads in the basement, hoping it goes platinum, but face it, we're too small and nameless in a world that's strange and tasteless. Every day getting greater, but I'm stuck in the basics. While these whack bastards keep paying for face of makeshift poetry. You're all saying the same shit, and I'm sick of it. But I keep a crooked smile stretched between my cheekbones. Fake it till you make it real. Maybe I can reach home with a heart ensnared that's laced with a sweet tone. Finally find my heart beating within each note. I'm a loose cannon, call me Bruce Banner. Looking for a cure for the green man who's standing in my shoes. Granted, this music has changed me. Who trusts me, baby girl? You wanna like me when I'm made? You wanna like me when I'm made? And I don't wanna be the one to say that I was only running from myself. And I don't wanna be the one to say that I need something else.
Cheers to everybody and make some noise for this guy right here, man.
Thank you guys so much. My name's Jimmy Clever. Good up for Josh K over here.
I'm sorry that I'm crying on the show. I love those guys so much. I really do. And the fact that Jimmy took the time out of his life to come play this with us, and as much as I wish we could have had all the funnies, just to have him and Josh up there is it's overwhelming. Oh God. Okay, back to the show. Come on, man. It was a really good weekend. I can't tell you how happy I am. But those guys are special. If there's anyone in Cincinnati that you should not forget to listen to at least once a week, it's Seeing the Funnies. Those guys are so good. They have worked so hard for us, and they are a staple in my musical life. I think you should allow them to be the same. Hold on. I'm still crying. Oh, God. Okay, I think I got it together. I've done this like 4 times this weekend where I'm just overcome with joy, and it comes out as sad boy tears. So, it is, it's an issue. But if you missed the show, I feel shitty for you. It was the time of my life. I couldn't have been happier with it. So we're going to pop through maybe 1 or 2 clips of the band. Then I got a special guest, my buddy Will Halfley of Talking to You, came on the show this week. And we chatted about music, about life, what it means to run these shows, and to focus on Cincinnati's music scene, to focus on each other for a little bit. It was a great hang. So before we do anything else, let's hop into a little bit of the band set and watch just a little bit more of this. Let's see where we're at. I'm going to try to find In Between a song, but if I don't, we're just going to pop in. Actually, no, I want to catch this while I still got my favorite telly out. Where are we at? Okay. Guessing. Here we go. About this folks just born to be bad. Who takes a solo? Jason takes a solo on this. Ugh.
So
guys. Oh my goodness. Come on, Nick Hack, yeah. Yeah. Woo!
Hey, Johnny Disco, why don't you take that bass for a walk?
My man Travis having a good time up there in the front.
Take that one more time, son. Come on.
You're going to get all of this in the sweetest quality you've ever seen. So this is the live stream and just the online mix done by Devin and Andrew over at Radio Artifact. If you are a musician, if you're in a group, this is Cincinnati's finest venue right now. Like I haven't been anywhere that competes. These guys have made this room so special, and they just crush the media. Like the overall production side of this space is through the roof, is bar none the best I've ever seen. So please, please, please reach out to them. Find out how to get on the schedule because it is worth it. And I'm so grateful that we could do this event there. So you're going to have the video footage from my guys, Mike Heffron and Quentin Roberts, with the final version of this. That'll come out in a couple of months, along with all the mixes and a couple of the tweaks here and there that I'm going to make. I'm going to try not to put my hands too much on it, but you know how it be. So without further ado, though, we're going to hop into this interview. I want to give a special shout-out to Will, who also came out to the show, hung out with us backstage all night. We drank a good bit of Jack Daniels together, and it was a special evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, William Halfley. Come on, brother. Make a TikTok video, and you're like, I didn't license that material. Like, that's my foot, dog.
That's gross.
Dude, that's the future, though, when you have to license out videos of your foot getting skin removed.
Because it's your foot?
Yeah.
Because you own it?
Exactly. Those are your toes.
That's capitalism.
That's capitalism. Welcome to the show, everybody. How the fuck you doing? Will, thanks for coming all the way out here,
Dude,
brother.
Thank you for having me, man.
A 45-minute ride for a 45-minute ride.
Hey, amen, dude. Hey, the trip is worth it, man.
Yes, absolutely. It's a nice spring day.
Yeah.
Spring's heating up.
Yeah, dude, it's super nice. Actually, I was sweating in the car. It's funny, actually. I was talking to Caden because we were up on the way up here, and this is like north of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And so we're coming from the east side, and we're used to saying, oh, west side of Cincinnati, west side, east side. But, like, no one talks about the north side of Cincinnati.
Well, you know what?
No one reps north side, you know what I'm saying?
I claim east side when it comes to that
Yeah,
stuff.
which-
It's
hey,
like,
brother.
I don't want no problem
all
with
love.
those west side weirdos. Like, stay home. You know, that's all I'm saying. You know, just
We'll
board.
come to the east side.
Yeah.
We got homes for you.
I've been pushing for legislation to put the locks on your house on the outside for my sake. That's just fucked up.
We just lock doors on the outside.
Yeah, exactly, man. But, you know, I grew up in this neighborhood. I'm a Moeller kid, so, like,
Okay.
we always saw this as the east side because we're always pitted against Elder.
Yeah,
you know?
that
So, like,
makes sense.
that was the dividing line there
Okay.
for the Catholic school kids.
So that's what I was kind of saying to Cam. Like, maybe we should just go ahead and just bunch the north side in with those east siders.
Yeah,
Just
we'd like
throw-
to be on your
throw-
team,
just throw it
especially if
all
it's
in
some
there.
kind of, like, post-apocalyptic situation. Like, if
Yeah.
we're fighting.
Well, we're the crazy ones, man.
You think so? Okay, true East Side is a different kind of crazy.
Sure,
Like-
for sure. Yeah, that's where I live out. Out in
Oh
Mount Orb.
yeah. Well, so did you grow up in Mount Orb?
Yeah. So I moved around a little bit when I was a kid. But I lived most of my life in Mount Orb in different sections of my life.
Cool.
So like I grew up. My first 8 years in Mount Orb, I went to Western Brown.
Nice.
Mount Orb Elementary, I guess. Western's the epitome of two schools in the one. But I did that, and then I moved around. Went to Blanchester. I lived
Yeah.
in Fairfield.
You went to Fairfield?
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
Did you live in Fairfield? At some
Yeah,
point?
for like 6 months. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Some section homing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like low rent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just super easy. It was my mom. She had just gotten divorced at the time, and
Gotcha.
she was taking care of me and my little brother, and so this was her first step into
Mhm.
single parenthood. And yeah, we lived in Fairfield. It was much different place than I lived every other place, because I always lived out in the country, and I
Yeah.
was in the city. So I went to a school that was like we were talking about north and east and west.
Yeah.
I went to East Fairfield.
Okay.
I think I don't even remember, but I went to one. It was 4 of them. There was
Yeah.
4 different schools for this one region.
That's
'Cause
nuts.
there's so many kids.
I mean, downtown Fairfield kind of surprises me with the amount of hustle and bustle going on,
Mhm.
and also it surprises me that a lot of those kids kind of feed into this Hamilton scene that's starting to go on.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
was probably a junior in high school, I started to hear about bands like Circle It and Harbor, and these are all Hamilton kids that kind of grew up on the Westchester venue scene, the Fairfield venue scene,
Yeah.
which it started to surprise me then when I got to my my younger 20s. I started to get to know Jimmy and the guys who
Yeah.
were truly East Side, from parts of the world that I didn't really even know existed.
Yeah, dude, it was
honestly.
just so far out, man.
Yeah.
There's really nothing there's no real scenes there. So when I first came back to Mount when I was an adult, we started. It wasn't really me, but I was a part of this huge scene that we kind of were curating out there, the Mount Orb Strip. We had Sonny's Vape Shop. We had John Har, who did studio. What was it called, Caden? His shop. Stage 3.
Cool.
And then Dusty with Studio 413 at the
Yeah.
tattoo shop. So we had these 3 great dudes all next to each other running awesome businesses. You had a vape thing, so it was and they did shows there.
Yeah.
Then you had the music store, which they also did shows there.
Yeah.
And then you had Dusty, which Dusty's a musician and an artist, so he just popped right in, perfect scenario.
And this is when you moved back, you're saying?
Yeah, so I was 19 years old.
Okay.
I started. I lived in Eastgate at the time still, but I had started coming back
Cool.
into Mount Orb in the area, and yeah, dude, it was just almost, it was perfect timing. So we started doing that show, that late show,
Yeah.
and that was right when all that started. So we was in the right slap dab in the middle of the whole thing going on.
The
It was
Late
super
Show
fun.
with Corey
Phillips, yeah.
Phillips.
Yeah.
How long did you run that show for?
We did it for almost 2 years. So we did a 49 episodes in the first season.
Cool.
It was a weekly show,
Yeah.
kind of like what I do with the Talking to You. And we, so we did that, and we took a really long break because we just jumped into it when we started. So we just decided let's just go, have as much fun as possible, do what we can now. And then towards the end, we were okay, we kind of lost ourselves a little bit, but then refound ourselves and made a decision to take a break
Yeah.
to develop the next season and make a new and improved show, a look, a feeling, make it just more professional. And so we took a huge break, and then we did 5 more episodes, and then the show ended.
And what was the reason for why do you think you burnt out, and why were you able to come back for 5 episodes specifically?
So we kind of just got to a point where dude, it was weekly. There was just so much work at hand, and
Yeah.
we were booking bands, we were we had a whole crew of people. I think we had 6, 7, 8 people all at once working on it. But it was all a passion project. There was nothing there was no gains.
Yeah.
At the time, we're just doing it for the culture per se. Dude, and that's where I met a lot of the people I know now. That was before I met you, but doing that led me into meeting people like you. I met so many people doing that, and I've rebooked so many people on my show through just because I did a lot of the booking through that. Just pure reach out. I had no association with any of these people, man. I was just purely reaching out, and I'm hey, I'm from this show. Would you guys like to come out? And so that kind of built my my confidence to do that, to reach out to people, to be able to have a discussion about what they do and their music and their art, whatever they do.
So when you reached this turning point of going from the Late Show to your own program,
Yeah.
was that to have more freedom? Was that to reincarnate some ideas from that you didn't get to flesh out?
Not really. Because that show was much more of a comedic standpoint on a lot of it. Like we were goofing off a lot of times. We're making a lot of jokes, and I mean I'm just a goofy, funny guy overall in general.
Yeah.
But the concept of that was more like we had skits, like we ran skit ideas, we did comedy,
Yeah.
we had characters. It was much more show,
Mm-hmm.
and this is more of like me, like sitting down and having a conversation. You
For
know?
sure.
And mostly to showcase, because I mean you hear people's music all the time, but like how often do you actually hear people talk about their music unless you go to like a specific showcase show where like Crooner, where they talk about their songs. And so I thought that was a good opportunity. And also I'm interested in many things. So I just thought, it'd be the best avenue to do, because I had so much experience in it. It'd be the best avenue to do to get to have these conversations with these talented people and these people with different perspectives and interests. And so it's just a fun way to kind of, in a way, do the same thing, but it's vastly different for sure.
It definitely feels like, it feels so different from the few clips I did see from that. Again, it was from a time where not only did I not know you guys, but these things that we're kind of developing in our scene and hoping to push the culture forward, it felt like a point where we were all very divided. And I don't think
it still feels like that to a certain degree, man. Like
I don't disagree in that for sure.
And that's what kind of sucks. And that was another big part of it, man, because like, in that time period, there was about a 2 year break, a year break off, Caden, you think? So I love looking off screen and asking questions. I do it all the time on the show. So we took a decent break where we just didn't do anything after that show, and I had wanted to, like, I had a full idea. I had a full show idea. I had notes written. I had a developed plan. Like I could pull it out right now and like show you if you really want me to. But what I did is like I developed this whole plan, and I asked everybody that was involved with the previous project, hey, do you guys want to do this? This is a comedy show. This is this. It's that. And nobody was really interested at the time. Everyone was kind of going through their own shit with that situation, with other situations, and just everyone felt real, not in the right place to do something like that at the time. So me and Caden decided we need to do something.
Yeah.
We had to do something. Like we were tired of sitting around. We were tired of dealing with the sadness of not being able to create anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's when we started Claremont Films, and we started doing short films and dramatic takes on life and shit.
Yeah. Well, what y'all do with Claremont Films is so distinguished against almost anything else I see coming out of our scene.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I love the introduction I got to it was going on talking to you, and so after this episode, we're just sitting there shooting the shit, and we watch a couple of these, and it's like it's powerful to sit with someone that's been able to take their hands off a project to say that is it, that's the picture we took, but it had such intention with it. Yeah. That it goes in a different criteria. It's a different art form in itself.
For sure.
And when a show like Corey's show, something like that, which is a long-term investment, takes a lot of patience and a lot of crafting.
And people too, yeah.
It takes a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so does Claremont Films, but it's like when something like that falls, by the wayside, it's hard to regroup the energy and the aspiration to get something going when in our scene where we might be a few more steps from monetization than in a bigger market like an NYC or an Atlanta or something like
Absolutely.
that. And with content creators like us and many others in our scene, we're slowly creeping towards that, but it takes the snowball effect. It takes having exponential amounts of stuff coming out and pride in that scene, and kind of the integration of it all.
Well, dude, you just hit it on the head, man. I mean, that was another real big purpose of talking to you is like we did these short films. We've been doing it for like a year and a half, 2 years almost. At the point. And I was like, we want to be involved. We want to be in the scene. We want to have conversations with people. We want to be able to curate what we're doing and get to the biggest point as possible with it.
For sure.
And so we thought, what a better way than to bring people to us than to come and have them sit and talk with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and no matter what comes out of it, like I always say, like, I could just be making friends, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but it's still like that's the goal. Like, make friends, make acquaintances, make partnerships, network, the whole dig, and show people's shit off.
Yeah.
Like,
especially that if there's anything that you in particular have taught me, it's the power of saying yes to people to champion them and let these these social, networks and channels be something that does pull focus to us while also spreading it out a little bit.
For sure.
Every time I see that you've shared a post of this show, or we try to vice versa do the same thing, it's like that's a step closer to what we're trying to do.
100%.
And we may be a long ways away from having Cincinnati be a scene that is envied, but we are something so of our own that right now it just takes a lot of discussion about who are the heavy hitters right now. Is there anything like Claremont Films in Cincinnati, Ohio that can compete? And if they can,
there's a few, by the way.
And talking about them is a great thing. Like throw out a few names.
I think it's BT. Oh man, I can't remember. There was this one film group I reached out to. They were another small. They did similar stuff to ours, and it was really good. BT Films, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then there's the Strong Brothers. They do more horror style stuff.
Cool.
And they're kind of like more of a known name in Cincinnati. But like you said, dude, I mean, film in general in Cincinnati is not like, it's very overlooked.
Yeah.
Like people don't pay attention to it as much. And that might just have to do with like our perspective on things because we've been in the music side of the industry for so long. I mean, I play music. I mean, I played this since I was 11 years old. That's so that's kind of like
that's the primary outlet.
That's where I don't necessarily play music or do it as my showcase talent right now. But it's always been a part of me. I mean, that's like what helps us do the films. You know? And that's what it kind of comes down to. I was gonna say too is everything that we've done and everything that we're doing. What we've always tried to understand is that it's not going to last forever. Everything kind of stops. People, you don't always work with the same people. You don't always do the same thing. You don't always have the same ideas. But what me and Caden built with doing the Claremont was just me and him. Like we made a short film with purely me and him, and that was it. And that was the whole consensus. Is like, let's just do something. Let's make anything. And we can because it's our idea. It's a simple thing. Like we don't have to make it complex. You can tell a great story with a super straightforward idea. Yeah. And so just being able to do anything at any time and having the capability. And you don't need everything. You don't need all the gear. You don't need all the people. You don't need that. Just get out there and do something, man, and have fun with it.
And I think
you'll lead to a new avenue.
And that willingness to hit print, to take your hands off something, to say it is good enough. It's like, it's part of this idea of you need to surrender to the realities around you that allow us to share things. It's like, if there's anything Cincinnati has gotten stuck in, it's this idea that I'm too good for that or I'm too good for this. It's like we've had
maybe not even that they're too good for it, man. I just don't think that they see themselves in the same line as like almost like genring. You know what I'm saying? Like how often do you see like thrown together genres on a bill? Like a good example would be this weekend with the Rock and Revival. I'll be at that.
Hot damn.
It's gonna be sweet, man. Yeah. And that's a good example of mixing up the bucket, man. Yeah. Like we don't do that often. We always try to line, and I have nothing wrong with that, man. I'm very niche on the stuff that I take in as content. Like I like what I like, but I'm supportive of everything, like you said. But throwing everything into a bucket sometimes and letting the people that are from different scenes see that's what makes the scene bigger and opens perspectives.
Well, and also it highlights such a valuable room to us in the Southgate House. It's like you don't understand what it means to have 3 shows going on in the spot for the sake of allowing the scene to intermingle. Yeah. For people to come from the upstairs room where there might be a punk show and walk in the lounge and hear some crazy-ass folk that's really not what you would have clicked on. It's not something that would have drawn your eye until you're in the room and you can't. It's undeniable.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the more that people champion each other in that, like, if there's anything really magical about a show like Talking to Me, Talking to You, it's you sitting there and saying, like, I've picked you for a reason. I brought you to my home. This is a room that I've crafted, something I've worked so hard on, because I see you as someone that's kicking ass for any particular reason.
Yeah, and like that's the thing too I like to take out of it too is like you don't have to be fucking successful to come on my show. Like you just got to be an artist and interesting to me. Like purely me, like no one else. Like it's me that decides like who comes on and talks to me. And like not saying that that's a closed door to anybody. Like me saying that like it's an open door. Like please. Just like if you do like it, reach out to me. Or if I like you, I'm gonna reach out to you. Yes. Because that's what I learned. Like I was saying, like being open to have open dialogue, to have a conversation, to bring like, hey, let's mingle, let's talk, like let's know each other, so that we can have a further relation. Like, hey, dude, I might not see you for another year, but I know who you are. Yeah, I know what you do. I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna oh yeah, that's my buddy.
Yeah.
And that's the purest form of what we're doing. I mean, everybody wants to put a capitalistic sense on like monetizing and gain and function and blah blah blah, and that shit's super important to get to where you want to get and stuff. But what's the most important, man, is the reality of like what your essence is in finding those things. Like why are you doing it? Why are you interested in it? You know what I mean?
Isn't that the best question? Why are you doing it? Because if it's to make those gains, if it's to get monetized, you should stop now.
Yeah,
it's a mess.
That's a goal for a lot of people, man. I mean, some this stuff to a lot of people isn't fun and it isn't a game. It's their job. It's the real deal. They went to school for it. They studied it their entire life, and this is their gig. But for me, I mean, and also coming from that, I learned it as a fun thing, as an avenue as a hobby, and now I've kind of slowly turned it into like a part of like my business mindset. So I'm humble for coming from that place, having it be a hobby, but also completely understanding of like making it a profession. You know what I mean?
For sure. Well,
but not losing either in the whole mix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
On a personal note, like I'm someone that's trying to do that, but to monetize your passions is a risky game because it takes a certain level of staying clever and staying open to it to see what it really could be. You don't need to go in with this corporate mindset of everything needs to have this level of profit margin and everything needs to set up in a certain way. It's like there's going to be a lot of ebb and flow to this. The question is what sustains the passion to do so? And then what is like the minimum barrier to entry in terms of the equipment that you need to have? It's like if we're going to go on the road, we got to have a van. A van is not cheap. So I got to think about those things. But at the end of the day, if I'm coming home with $20 in my pocket, I have to count that as a win for my own sanity, you know? And I know what it's like to go out and play a corporate gig and make that grand a night. And I know what it's like to lose $500. I put on an original show that I thought would really rock and shit hit the fan. And it's like there's some beauty in the fact that those may look like two separate entries on a log sheet, but they are of the same intent and the same passion.
Because you could have, instead of going and packing the van up and going and making some money doing a gig and, playing to a crowd of people, you guys could just jam in the basement. Yeah. You could have done the same and it would have been the same thing.
Exactly.
And that's a good mindset to keep, man, is like you're doing the thing.
For sure.
So as long as you're happy where you're at doing it, then nothing really else matters. But also if you're not happy, like just keep running at it and trying to bring those new goals and new achievements. Like you said, like you got the van, you got the gear, you're playing the corporate gigs. So like at some point you were just jamming in the basement, and you still are jamming in the basement.
For sure.
I mean, dude, this basement is kick ass.
Thank you so much. Really Shout out to my mom and dad. Hot diggity damn. If y'all didn't let me do this shit, I would be in a box somewhere, living a decent life.
We are in a box. We're in a box on their phone.
Okay, that's a very good point. One day this is gonna be 3D, and you're not gonna see this shit coming. But I'm gonna boop you.
Just be in the middle, like sitting like Indian style, crisscross applesauce.
No, I'm wondering why we're not already at the point where like I can lock a phone into a set of like 3D goggles and have it just go.
Dude, I think you can, man.
With an Oculus kind of a thing, like Bluetooth.
It's getting real close. My cousin just brought his Oculus over, and it's like wireless and stuff now. I mean, I played like the PlayStation VR. It's getting kind of weird, man. It's getting far. Now just come long ways in just a few years, within a decade.
It's hard to remember that like technology grows exponentially as much as we do not. That stuff is going to go at a pace that's really hard to keep up with unless you just go with it and enjoy. And I think like there's certain precautions that we all have to take. Like, the day that I can put on Oculus and go to a concert in a 3D virtual world will be sweet. But I'll probably want to have a phone that doesn't listen to me, like the give and take.
What's down?
Yeah.
It's hard with that too, man. Is like because that's exactly what you're doing. You're giving up something for something else.
For sure. There's no free.
And I kind of understand it from a point of view of like certain people like not like that don't necessarily get out and go to shows and do stuff, go out and do stuff. I mean, not to like exclude them from the party, but like you're missing out if you're not going out in person.
Totally.
But you also, I guess, shouldn't miss out on what could be the experience from your home watching that same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, everything is about just taking it in and having fun. from an entertainment perspective, you know.
Absolutely. Well, it's hard to distinguish where the magic can and can't sit, because if I saw the Stones VR, because I couldn't see the Stones in real life, I'm happy.
That'd be
That's great.
yeah, that's a good example too.
Exactly. There's certain, places I can't cross into. Like if I could have watched the Stones VR in Rio de Janeiro, like that would have been the craziest shit ever.
Yeah.
But there's something about that should turn me on to like the many dimensions where I could enjoy a live local concert or a live local film. Like, what's the difference between filming on tape 35 millimeter and filming on digital? Until you're sitting in front of it,
yeah,
it's hard to distinguish, but it's there.
It's there, man. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, dude, it's so crazy too. Like playing with your settings, like there's so much difference. I mean, just like a guitar, you turn on a guitar, you turn the tone up halfway, and you turn the volume up halfway, you get a more twangy, country style sound. But if you rip that stuff all the way up and you turn the gain up, next thing you know, you got a metal guitar.
Yeah.
And so it's just the way you play with your settings, man. And it's understanding your mechanics in your craft.
For sure. Well, I think that raises a good point too, because like as a kid, when I hung out with the guitar mentors in my life, they would always make the reminder of it's in your hands. It's not in the guitar. It's not in your rig.
It's you, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's the human interface behind that. The same thing has to be said for videographers, and it's a harder thing to appreciate, especially in a stabilizer-fueled world. But it's like
100%.
when someone can go handheld and get nasty like that, this is a skill set that you can't tangibilize the difference that makes
100%.
Until you're watching it left and right,
Dude, yeah, and a good example is like me compared to Caden. I mean, so Caden's the camera whiz. Like I can work a camera. I know how to do. I know how to set up for the most part. If you put me on like a gimbal or a gyro or something, like it's gonna look good and it's gonna look passable. It'll look great. I mean, whatever. I know enough to get a good image. But if you give it to Caden, just put it in his hands, he's gonna get the same thing. Yeah, and it's gonna be better. It's gonna look more dynamic, and he's gonna see things differently than you do, because he is the interface for that machine.
Totally,
he's the mind to that vision.
And that's that 10,000 hour mark where it's like, if most people, if they were given an empty stage and a microphone, wouldn't walk up there and start talking to that crowd as if it was talking to me, talking to you, but you would walk up there with that goddamn microphone because you spent all these hours in front of these folks. Yeah, exactly. So there has to be so much. There's so much pride to be taken in what's going on slowly amidst our scene, and a little bit more love here, a little bit more love there. To come out of a weird couple of years stronger than ever is the only hope for all of us.
We made a good point too, man. Like just walking up there. I mean, why not you? Why not be you? Why can't you be the guy? Why can't you do the thing? Like whatever you're thinking of, like, oh, we need this in this scene, or oh, we need this in this part of entertainment, or we need this even in your whatever 9 to 5. Like, why not be the guy? Why not put yourself to do it? And I mean, the worst someone's gonna tell you is no, or I don't like it, or nice try.
And you need people to not like it to figure out, where this is going. Like, I need some vicious feedback every once in a while to keep that shit real.
Man.
For sure.
It is. I mean, it keeps you humble. I try not to read. I don't really get any of that kind of stuff yet, but like once I do, I'm gonna definitely hold the motto of like don't read it as much as possible, but just know it's there. Just know that there's always gonna be people that don't like you. And a good thing I took from this in my podcast, I've had people that I necessarily don't communicate with, we're not on good terms per se. I've had people watch it and not necessarily tell me personally, like, hey, I enjoyed the show, it was a great interview, good job, but they've said it to the people that have been on the show that they associate with that I don't. You know? So even like people that don't like you will recognize what you're doing, and that's another goal to hold to the heart too, man. Is like they don't have to like you to like what you're doing.
That's a really valid point, and like to not be married to these disgruntlements and to carry that shit around with you, like that's another thing. We all have our own toxicities, our things that are embedded in who we are as
that's
animals.
That's what my films are about, man. I mean, sure, for sure,
exactly. 100%. And y'all, it's Ricky, right?
Ricky, yeah.
Ricky and I were talking about the one that you have about about sex trafficking.
Yeah.
And about was his mother-in-law crying?
Yeah. So that's a cool story actually. So we made this film. It's called 1037. It's about human trafficking, sex trafficking. So the story goes, you see this little girl playing in the front yard. Which is Ricky's daughter.
Yeah.
And this car comes by. It's super creepy. It makes you feel really weird, nauseous almost, and it ends up. Oh, speak of the devil, dude.
No way.
He literally just called me.
Is he on FaceTime?
He can be on it. You wanna answer?
Let's answer it real quick
Dude,
at the very least.
Hey, Ricky, dude, you're the perfect timing, dude. I'm at Matt Waters' show right now. We were literally just talking about you. FaceTime me.
Ricky, quit holding out on us. What up, bro? How you doing?
What perfect time. Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
Yeah. You playing me like that. Am I going to see you on Friday, dog? Are you able to come out? Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, man,
You're a sweet
dude.
kid, Ricky. I love you, brother. Thank you, man.
Dude, I'll talk to you in a little bit, brother, okay? All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Love you too, brother. Peace. That's hilarious.
Dude, that's the way the universe should work.
That's it, dude. That's what I'm saying, man. Allow the world to be, fun. But yeah, with the story, so his daughter is in the yard playing. This car drives by real creepy. It rolls up. You see the mom come out, grabs the kid. What are you doing? I told you not to talk to the stranger, because he's like talking to the ball. There's a ball.
Yeah.
Getting the ball from across the street. Hi, little lady, and ends up being the sheriff.
Yeah.
That's who the guy is in the car. And so you see this. It feels creepy though. The point is to feel creepy. The sheriff gets home, goes to this thing. You see a news report. He's on the TV talking about this missing person, and then it ends up that he, in fact, has that missing person at his house tied up, and so he's the culprit of the kidnappings.
Oh my God.
And then he at the end he says this line. He talks to this guy on the phone. Goes, oh hey yeah, is it same price for? I got one for you right now. And he's like, oh yeah. By the way, I missed one this morning. Next time. And so that line, it's deep shit, man. It's not for the faint of heart for sure. But that the whole story was that Ricky's grandma watched it. And, because she's like, oh, I want to see what my son Ricky's doing and see what these little films he's making. She watched it, and she literally teared up because, that's her niece.
Yeah.
So or her granddaughter.
Yeah.
So she felt really, personal to it, and it made her kind of tear up. And so, but that, in a way, is the exact emotion we're trying to conceive from people. We're trying to tell stories, because that's based off a true story. It's about a New York cop that kidnapped and trafficked women and men for 10 plus years in New York. And that's a real story, and so we just try to tell shit like that and just give perspective. Like, this isn't the world. This isn't like just some like manifested, like crazy thought up, like mental mind game, like we're not just thinking of this stuff to have fun, you know what I mean?
Yes. But there's a point where it's like, the greatest horror films of all time come about from doing those kind of things. But
100%.
like we aren't in a world lacking certain evils that not only deserve to be admitted, but they deserve to be addressed in that kind of visceral way. Like, that's probably hardest on, not the people watching. It's probably hardest on Ricky, who's playing these characters, who's exposing his family to these things, realizing that someone went through this for real.
Yeah.
And there's moments where that clicks in a totally different way. So it's honorable as artists and as people to go into these sides of ourselves that are putrid and dark and difficult, to expose the fact that it's real and it deserves betterment through conversation. And you can't get there without tearing at someone's heartstrings.
Well, dude, and thank you for that. And I in my belief, dude, is like opposite perspective with the music you do, man. I mean, I feel like the exact opposite. I feel like you bring an energy and a joy to people through performing on stage, which is where we bring out the exact opposite emotion. And that's where like those things are needed. Like you need to have a good time and also be realized to bad times. You know what I mean? Because if you sit in your bubble, then you'll never know like what the traumas are of other people and like how to interact with those traumas of other people, because you don't know people's stories, man. And I've lived a decent life. I've not dealt with a lot of like super super traumatic stuff. I do have
Yeah.
things I carry, but just discussing like that stuff in a more open forum, which I can sit and talk all I want, but to showcase it in a cinema field, and you can watch it, you can feel it, you can hear it, you can sense it. It brings out all your like senses. It's just a more powerful way to bring up those conversations with people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you've only experienced what you've experienced. There's
You have to learn others.
we're in a hard time of the world where to be a victim is a very difficult thing in any circumstance. But I think we've kind of recontorted how we look at those things, and it's starting to play with a lot of aspects of our emotions. So I kind of live a life where I want to remain grateful at all points in time, while also realizing like there's some shit that you just can't get around in this life. You're gonna go through it, and you should appreciate it for what it teaches you. And sometimes you need to go to those places yourself to make sure that you're staying realistic with yourself. Like last night, like I'm sitting in the bathroom and I'm scrolling through my phone, and this video comes up, and it's the president of Ukraine giving 6 minutes of the most heartfelt, profound speech that I've heard from any kind of politician in my adult life.
And to you, that means something.
It means so much, and it's Instagram content, where we make garbage every day and just throw it at each other, hoping that someone's gonna make it viral. And it's like, you know what this platform can be used for? Stopping a war that's going to separate families, that's going to destroy culture, that's going to tear apart humanity in a different way. It's like that deserves more light than one share could ever be.
100%.
But it's so odd the way that we're now seeing the intersection of content we can make on one of these that has that deep of an impact.
Yeah, well, and a good point to bring in that is, so you've seen that, it's prevalent to you, it's in your eye, it's in the media, it's a popular like video, like everyone's seeing, it's viral per se. What doesn't happen a lot of times, and like it makes sense because of the precedent of like what this could lead to. It's a much more dangerous thing than like most situations that you could shine the light on. But I mean situations like this have been going on for long time. I mean, like in 2015, Russia did a very similar thing, and there was a civil war going on in Ukraine, and they got a little bit of attention, but just that's I think a big problem with social media and like media in general is that like we like to pivot one thing at certain times and then kind of ignore everything else that led to these moments, because I mean, how much do you know about the Ukraine-Russian situation?
Barely anything up until last week.
Exactly.
And then it just
this
kind
has
of
been going on for 10 years, man. And that's the thing. No one talks about it until it's a problem. And that's what I mean, like with the stories we're telling, dude. Nobody wants to talk about anything or do anything about anything until it's a problem.
Yeah.
Solve the problem before there's a problem. There's a solution before the problem occurs, always. Yeah. And that's a good point to take, is just like, allow the media to showcase it, but also understand that there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get shown.
For sure.
And that's where kind of we take on the movies, is like showing stuff that's not shown as much. Like how that story I told you about the cop.
Yeah.
How many people know that story?
Yeah.
How many people just from us showing it think no? I mean, 200 people watched it from us, and they don't know the backstory, so they don't even know what we're relating to or referencing.
And it takes a conversation of relaying that, where it's like what you felt is nowhere near what these people felt.
100%.
But there's also, when I hear things about, this war in the Ukraine, any kind of world news that is so disturbing and so outside of the scope that I live in, it's like we need to be reminded by the tragedies of our world that you live within a certain scope that you can make a difference in, and you can take that wherever you want.
Yes.
But if you do nothing about it, you are
it's
part of the echo chamber that has made the problem. Exactly.
Words in the wind, and they don't mean nothing. And that's the biggest thing, man. And I agree with you on that sentiment. And I hope that like us as human beings, especially going into a more media driven world with it all right in our face, I do hope that we can recognize that and be more observant of that in the future, and to relay, like, because everything is when things get blown up, it all turns into the same, like, I don't know what was the word. I feel like it's getting like the media care. You know, like I watch like CNN or something like that, and they were talking about it, and it was like, you know, war in Ukraine, masses insurrected from their homes, you know, all these different bad headlines right in a row, and then come down to Applebee's and get yourself a 5-piece. It's like,
And Applebee's
there,
has rats.
where are we at, man? You know, like we're gonna throw in a commercialized ad right after some like, it's just weird. You know
It
what I
is.
mean? And I'm not saying it's like wrong, but it's just a weird sentiment to put into the world. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like you can just get so taken afar, like you said, like it's hard to look out from outside your bubble.
Yeah.
And so to see things and to try to learn from different cultures' perspectives, I mean, it just is hard when there's no real significance to what they're saying. It's like, oh, war on Ukraine. Oh, CNN's going to run an ad for Applebee's right now while they're talking about this, because that's more important.
Yeah.
Their money's more important than the message.
When that's that's that development of the industry, and I think like we all have to be fair to each other when to like admit hypocrisy,
Yep.
admit when we're wrong, admit when I can say to you, I wish people did more in their day-to-day lives to better each other. I don't know if I do that sometimes.
And
you
we
know?
don't.
You know, it's
Just taking those moments though to do it when you do feel like it.
yes,
That's all that
exactly.
matters.
And staying away to the fact that you could always do better, you could always do more, and that doesn't deserve applause. It deserves a space in you where it's like you should feel the most yourself when you have given of that body to each other.
Yeah.
You know, and there's something to be said about like we watch these news stations that make their money off of scaring the living fuck out of us.
That's it.
And that's the development of an industry. In the same way that you go to see a Metallica concert and they're selling you, some great merch and some half-ass merch
Yeah.
because they're just trying to make a buck. I'm trying to find out right now, like, with my merch line, how do I make sure I'm not selling garbage that was made by child slaves? Like, you can barely know that shit.
And yeah,
It's terrifying.
That's a good point, man. It's like to know what you're pushing.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
what's your product? What sits behind your product? Like, yeah, you could take the easy route and get it from China.
Yeah.
But you know, like
Yeah.
you know the settlement that's coming with that purchase.
Yes.
If you get it made here in America, it's gonna cost more. But you know that it's gonna be made by a shop. It could be a mom and pop shop if you're
Yeah.
really looking to get in the right place, but you know it's at least going to be done by people that have to follow certain obligations of what our society deems is correct.
For sure. And it turned to a joke over our lifetimes in the last 50 years. It's like they used to egg your car if you drove a non-American car in the city of Detroit.
Really?
Because that's where they made those whips. They were
Really?
proud of American cars. And,
That's a cool story.
and you should be working hard to drive an American car because that puts your neighbors in their home. It puts food on their table.
Yeah.
So when you think of something little like, I'm an artist trying to make a little extra money when I'm on the road, but I want to support American companies that are making this merch. So like going through a lot of people that make T-shirts and make stickers and saying like, which one of you is going to offer me something I really see value in? I want folks that are turning this around because they know it's an honest business and it's being made by people that we respect the quality of the clothing that's going to last.
Yeah.
And it sucks that we've all been undersold on what the value of these products are in our lives, to the fact that the only thing that we care about is the bottom line in the budget,
Yeah.
the cheapest.
And yeah, that's just not the way to do things, man. Because I mean, if you look at every successful thing, I mean, dude, they're just like we talked about the Beatles documentary.
Yeah.
They're bringing in coffee and toast and cigarettes.
Yeah.
Every day, every dot on the hour.
Yes.
And that's just in the expenses. Like
Yeah.
they don't even care.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter because they are running their thing the right way. They have the exuberant to do those things, you
Yeah.
know. Which you're saying like a more independent, like sometimes you gotta make those bottom line deals, and like it's not to hate on the bottom line people, you know,
Yeah.
but you know it is like where are you getting your stuff from, what kind of product is it, what's the quality, and that all matters, and like who are you giving it and selling it, you know?
Yeah. Who are you propping up by making this purchase?
For sure.
And there's certain things where like that doesn't apply to, like all my guitar player friends out there, like, you know what guitar players love? American-made guitars. You know, like
100%.
that's
Or
that's,
Mexicans are pretty good.
There's a lot of great Mexican guitars.
They've been getting good at them.
You know, that's a little closer to home. I feel better about supporting that if I know that they're going the extra mile, that the people that are assembling these guitars get the love they deserve for them. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, you know, one of the best guitars I've ever played is a Squire. classic vibe Telecaster. These are Mexican-made guitars where I want to know more about the process and the product at the end of the day so that person feels the...
You want to know the name of the guy who made your guitar?
Sometimes you really do. Like, ain't that the most special thing?
Yeah.
And you know, I think just looking around and realizing,
Yeah.
well, I love you, brother.
I love
Anything
you
you
too,
want to
man.
plug on the way out?
Dude, just watch my show, Talk Me Talking to You. Check out our short films, Claremont Films. It's on YouTube. Go check out Seeing the Funnies. Go check out Matt Waters. Go
Thank
check
you.
out Noah Smith.
Rockin' Revival.
Rock
March
Revival. I'll be there March 5th, Saturday. I'll be at Matt's show this Friday.
The
at
live
Urban
album.
Artifact. Shout
Yeah,
out
this
to
will come
Devin
out
Brooks.
next week. But you know, make sure you're catching all the events in Cincinnati that make Cincinnati appreciate itself.
For sure. And yeah, I mean, dude, I could sit here and talk forever about all the people I like, man. I got a lot of them. Just go watch my podcast. You'll
Yeah.
see all those people I like, and I have conversations with them individually. So, but
Cool.
dude, thank you so much
Happy to,
for
brother.
having me
Love
out,
you,
man.
man.
Love you too, man.
Stay home, everybody. West Siders, don't come out.
Hit that like, subscribe button, bitch. That was a good podcast, dude. That was fun, man.
That was a lot of fun.
Dude, Matt. Dude, that was a fucking awesome, genuine conversation.
Yeah, man.
Seriously.
The phone did die, so some of it will just be audio. Unfortunately,
Yay!
that's the slacker bullshit. That was Will, everybody. A great friend, an amazing dude. Make sure you check out his show, Talking to Me, Talking to You. I think there's episodes every week, but he brings on a lot of Cincinnati's finest stars. So make sure you tune in for some interviews. Also, make sure to check out their other hustle, Claremont Films, and April 11th Videography and Photography, I believe. If y'all are trying to contract them in, they're amazing what they do, and they're super reasonably priced. So show them some love, and let's hop into the dates because we are finishing up the Impatient Tour these next 2 months, and I couldn't be more excited about the dates. So for hometown stuff this weekend, March 9th, this Wednesday, I'm at the Tin Roof. That show starts at 10 o'clock. March 10th, this Thursday, I'm at the Little Miami Brewing Company from 6 to 9 p.m. over in Milford. March 11th, I'm back at the pub Rookwood. Always a wonderful time. That show starts at 7 o'clock. March 12th, I'm at Grainworks Brewing Company out at 7 o'clock in Westchester. March 13th, I'm at Northern Row. One of my favorite bars to see. It sounds amazing in there. That starts at 1 o'clock, and you know what it'll be every single Sunday night. March 13th, I'm going to be at Fishbowl at the Banks starting at 7. For the acoustic dates, we only got a couple left. We have 3/16 and 3/17 at the Tin Roofs in Indianapolis and Louisville, Kentucky. The 16th starts at 9 o'clock. The 17th starts at 5. I'm going to be joined by Miss Tommy Lee on those shows. We're going to be playing stuff from my new EPs, some of the stuff that you just heard on The Big Crash. You can also go check that out on Radio Artifact's website. But we're also going to be playing some stuff off of her upcoming EP. She's a phenomenal songwriter and incredible vocalist. So make sure you put those shows in your calendar. And then me and the boys are hitting the road 2 more times for this first quarter of the year. And it's been an amazing tour thus far, so we can only hope that it ends that way. But March 24th, we're going to New York City. We're going to be making our debut at the Red Lion. That show starts at 7 o'clock. And then on the 25th, we're playing in Arlington, Virginia at a spot called the Renegade, also making our debut out there. That show starts at 10. DC area friends, come out and show yourselves. Let's get down. April 21st, we're in Indianapolis, Indiana at the Tin Roof. That show starts at 5 o'clock. We are also going to be announcing the Big Crash Summer Tour in the next couple weeks here, so stay tuned. Make sure you let us know where you want to see us, but we can't wait to be touring on this album, my very first album. It feels surreal to be saying it. So that is it for episode 65 of The Wave, y'all. I'm Matt Waters. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you soon.